What's up guys, welcome to another video. Today we are in a 2018 BMW M240i xDrive. So it's not a full fat M car, it's not an M2, but this car actually does offer some pretty nice goodies. This has the B58 engine, which is the same engine found in the GR Supra, and it has the 8-speed ZF automatic transmission, also found in the Supra. In this state of tune, it makes the same power as the Supra, 335 horsepower, and 369 pound-feet of torque. This car with the xDrive all-wheel drive system and the automatic transmission and basically fully optioned out actually weighs around 3,800 pounds. Now the owner Karthik actually does track this car, so we do have some Michelin PS4S tires, but other than that, the car is pretty much stock. This generation of M240i xDrive you can find nowadays for around $30,000 to $35,000 used. So at that price, are we talking about a more daily drivable, more comfortable, more practical Supra that's obviously heavier, but still retains a lot of the great driving dynamics? That's what we're going to find out. Pretty loud startup for stock exhaust. Sport Plus mode. Traction and stability fully off. Manual mode for the transmission. We'll be using the paddle shifters. The first impressions of the interior, it's typical BMW from this era. It's refined, it's well built. These seats are highly adjustable. I wish I was sitting just a little bit lower in the car, but actually the stock seating position with the seat all the way down is not bad. And you can tilt and telescope this steering wheel. Very little NVH, great ride quality. Suspension's nice and soft, steering's nice and light in the comfort setting. Transmission is very smooth, the gear ratios are very close together, and you barely feel them. The shifts are quick and smooth, just what you want from an automatic in a daily driver. Down into second. Really nice and short gear ratios. Wow, this xDrive system gives me a level of corner exit grip that is definitely not there in rear-wheel drive 2 Series models that I've driven, like the M2, M2 Competition, even the M240i from the previous gen. Still pretty quick on the straights. The B58 engine is an absolute torque monster. It's super linear. With its twin scroll turbo, power delivery is just, it feels so flat across the rev range. This all-wheel drive system, man, it feels so weird in a 2 Series BMW. I'm not used to having so much traction coming out of corners. It's kind of off-putting almost because I'm so used to the rear end of these types of cars stepping out. This transmission is class leading for a reason. It's so quick and so smooth for a torque converter. Almost feels like a dual clutch in the shift speed. You can keep it in 3rd gear here and just use that torque. There's really no reason to use 2nd gear in anything but a very tight hairpin. Downshifts are rev matched, they're smooth, they don't upset the car at all. Wow. Very confidence-inspiring car to drive quickly. Brakes actually feel fine too with the stock pads that Karthik put back on after his track day. Straight line pull. Pretty quick little car in a straight line despite being 3,800 pounds. This engine has plenty of grunt, and the short gear ratios of the ZF 8-speed really keep this engine in its power band at all times. This thing's so quiet though. From inside the car, you really barely hear the engine unless you're really high in the RPM range. Redline is around 7,000, maybe a little bit lower. This engine really doesn't make a whole lot of noise. The grip. Now unfortunately there's virtually no steering feel from this electric power steering rack. It's not the most confidence-inspiring front end. A little bit of slop in that steering response. All the confidence comes from the rear end in this car. Look at that. That is pinned in second gear. And the car just puts the power down. This thing's almost comical how easy it is to drive quickly. It is a low effort driving experience. You can absolutely mob in this thing and not break a sweat. It's just so confidence inspiring. If only the front end were a little bit sharper, a little bit less slop in that initial turn in. But given it's a 3,800 pound car, I'm actually really impressed. This does feel dynamically similar to a Supra if a Supra was all-wheel drive. Heavier, yes, but I wouldn't guess that it was 400 pounds heavier. I can tell you right now, a Supra will not put the power down nearly this well. Really impressed by the application of this ZF8 in this 2 Series chassis. It works so well for a car that's, you know, relatively daily drivable, all things considered. It's got a usable back seat. It's supposed to be comfort oriented. And this transmission helps you do that when you're just putting around town or on the freeway. Throw it into 8th gear. But when you're driving it hard, it actually rewards the driver. Imagine that. A transmission that can just do it all. The tuning of this engine and transmission honestly don't feel noticeably different than how they're tuned in the 2020 model year GR Supra. The later model years obviously did get a healthy bump in power. I'm not sure if the transmission tuning changed at all, but from where I'm sitting, this car feels like a bargain, everyday drivable, all-weather Supra. Like, that's really what it feels like. I'm actually enjoying this a lot more than the previous generation M240i, which came with the N55 engine and a transmission that was definitely not this quick. We'll do one more little hard driving stint here. We do get some overrun in sport mode when you lift off the throttle. You do get some burbles and crackles from that exhaust. Not loud when you're inside the car, but I'm sure it can be a little bit obnoxious from outside in typical BMW fashion. That's 3rd gear. Tons of grip. 7,000 RPM red line. This thing builds speed effortlessly. There's virtually no turbo lag down low. The transmission is quick and smooth. Again, I sound like a broken record. But this powertrain and transmission combo, it's a deadly combo. It's so low effort in terms of how it delivers a huge amount of performance. And when you add BMW's xDrive system, which all things considered compared to other all-wheel drive systems feels pretty good, it feels pretty neutral, this car with those 3 things inspires an insane level of confidence. And then you just back it off into Eco Pro. The transmission keeps it at RPMs basically at idle, and you've got a perfectly comfortable, quiet little daily driver. For $30,000, 35 grand at most, come on guys. This thing's an absolute bargain. I'm thoroughly impressed. Is it a razor edge sports coupe like an M2 or M2 comp? No, it is not. But for the money, this thing really does feel like a 4-seat all-wheel drive Supra. I'm curious now what the rear-wheel drive manual version of this car feels like. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Subscribe if you have not already, and I'll see you in the next one.